This week on RSBANDB Update, treasure hunters removed from RuneScape for 1 week. We discuss Jagex's survey, the future of monetization, bringing lapsed players back, and ask the question, is XP too easy to earn? Also, Cosmetic free worlds and the march to Prif on the GIM. This is RSBANDB Update, episode 1047, recorded Thursday, July 24th, 2025. Removing Treasure Hunter. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of RSBANDB Update. This week, Microtransaction Experiment 1 is upon us, and Tanis, you're back here. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Happy to discuss the disappearance of your keys, amongst other things.
I'm always happy to discuss monetization, right? Like, always, you know? I mean, it's...
He means it. That might sound like sarcastic. He means it.
It's like when somebody won't die, you know, and it just keeps coming up over and over and over again. Yeah, I like to talk about it.
Yeah, because we've been trying to, beat that nail down into the piece of wood for a long time, but just haven't been able to. But Parnassius also here, everyone's second favorite Australian.
G'day all.
We're going to be discussing both microtransaction experiments that are on the way, Removal Treasure Hunter, the Cosmetic free world, and some patch notes. But first, of course, big huge thank you goes out to our experienced tier Patreon members, for whom without update would not be possible. That is Amos Reed, Bladecom, Dominic R, Jason S, Jesse W, Kesky, Lemon Lodge, Luminos, Ricky A, Runestar, RMan NZ, Oasis, Snail Mage, The Naked Captain, and Tim. Big huge thank you, everybody. You'll be hearing more about our Patreon offerings a little bit later in the show, but of course, in the meantime, if you want to follow along, full show notes can be found over at update.show. We also have our community Discord over at update.show/Discord, and the friends chat can be found in-game at BitsBytes. All right, so the week everybody's been waiting for, Microtransaction Experiment 1 and the removal of Treasure Hunter, is finally here. I can't count the number of times people have asked for Treasure Hunter to be removed, and here's a week of RuneScape with no Treasure Hunter.
And it was... No, I was just saying, it was funny, in our clan, we've had a few people who were saying, hey, where's my keys gone? They didn't even realize it was happening.
Yeah, and you do get a big banner when you log in as to what's happening. And I know that there is a significant portion of the RS population that doesn't read news posts and certainly doesn't listen to this show, and I mean they should, because that is a quick way of getting all the news for it. But Tanis, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, it's funny because when did Group Iron Man come out? Because
around Halloween.
Yeah, so I mean that was the removal of Treasure Hunter for me. It was, and we did not wean ourselves off either. It was like wham, no,
cold turkey.
Yeah, cold turkey. But yeah, but no, hey, we'll talk more. I'm sure.
You have been a big purchaser, and you have known whales effectively.
Yes, and I can say, being on every side of this equation now, I still believe what I believed before. Like, you should play the game how you play the game. Like, it really should not affect you, because I'm playing my game. Just over here in Group Iron Man, we're just doing our things. We're still together. We're hanging. We're gonna be the Rolling Stones of this bitch. But right, we're just gonna outlive everybody. But it just doesn't. Am I wrong to say it doesn't have a huge impact? It hasn't.
For us as a Group Iron Man, is that what you're primarily talking about?
I mean, I guess so, because that's what I'm primarily
Yeah,
playing,
yeah.
right?
Which I
Like,
mean, that's to be understood because that's just the way the game is for us right now. Um, but I would be really curious to know how somebody who was a habitual purchaser of keys feels during this time. Like, are there going to be the people who are going to effectively be saying, "Please, please, don't do this because you're making it so I can't get my 120s." Like, is
well,
there that player out there?
it's all about where you're at and what the goals are, and we'll talk about a survey coming up, but you gotta, and I think Jagex is trying to figure this out, like what are people's goals, because that is going to say a lot about
Right, that was in the
what
survey.
you're feeling. Yeah, what are your feelings going to be about having it here, and if you even need it or not. Now, I think that there's enough RuneScape to go around. I've always said that. Like, there's plenty of it. Now, you give us a temporary game mode like you did with Refresh Start, right? That has just some killer iconic cosmetic that we have to freaking have, and the only way we can do it is by grinding shit out. Well, now there's a demand for Treasure Hunter, right? Like, versus right now,
That did
I don't
happen
care.
at the end of Fresh
Yeah.
Start.
Well, yeah, I know. I spent. Judging by the interest on credit cards, who knows? I might still be paying. I don't know. But no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no. I would say that would be bad, policies if that was the case. Credit card interest is like horrible. A low credit card interest is like 18%.
Yeah.
Best thing I ever did was get rid of the credit cards.
Yeah.
Watch my bank account creeping up.
I mean, I believe that the only, and this is getting into personal finance. I believe the only time you should, legitimately use financing to buy things is if you're buying a house or, you need to finance a car over a certain number of years, right? Otherwise, I don't think you should be using credit to buy things. And I mean, if you like it to, gather reward points or whatever, fine, but you shouldn't be buying things on a credit card if you don't have the money to pay it back and down to full every month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only exception I'll make to that is, for me, substitute instead of I don't need it for a car. I have had to use. I've done the same thing instead of a car or a computer, because computer for me was like work.
Yeah.
Life.
Yeah, but business credit is in an entirely different category in terms of how that's granted. So I'm not too
I guess that's true.
So
yeah, I guess so.
Jagex is effectively here trying to learn player feedback about how the game feels with Treasure Hunter, the rewards and the removal of the daily keys. They want to hear about that. They want to hear about the thoughts on the XP bundles. They want to hear about the impact of how players are playing without Treasure Hunter, whether earned or paid, and they'll be looking at the data side of that, and as well as the interest in purchases of these bonus XP bundles, especially by the time-poor players, and the emphasis there being time-poor, the people who only have at most probably about an hour a day to play the game. And go ahead.
Well, I just have to say, like, I feel like I'm very average, right? Like, I'm the target audience of, like, the mediocre shit. I'm the reason Marvel exists, right? Like, I'm sorry, guys, like, because I'll go and see that kind of stuff, and I feel like that's what Jagex is trying to hone in on. And
what is the middle of the road RuneScape player effectively thinking this week?
Right, and what I think they're thinking is, but thank you. Like, because that's how, I mean, that's kind of how the survey was for me, was like, yeah, I've participated in all of this. I've spent big bucks. Doesn't, right now I'm not, because that's not where I'm at in my game. But I would be, and different, right? Because at this point, I've had without it, I played it with. It doesn't really matter. So I hope it doesn't screw. If they actually are looking at it, but if you notice, the wording with this was very different.
Yeah.
It was. This was a really well done. I don't know.
No,
It just had a different
yeah,
feel.
I want to get into the survey. We'll go there, but I just wanted to briefly bring up the price of the bundles in US dollars because we didn't have the official prices in US dollars until this week. So here we are. I'm going to start with the stars. It is $1.99 for 4 large stars, $5.99 for 12, and $11.99 for 25. Now, the knowledge bombs, you get 2 knowledge bombs for $5.99, 6 knowledge bombs for $11.99, and 10 knowledge bombs for $16.99. I have to be honest with you. I was expecting these prices to be higher.
This is cheap. If I was on my main, I would eat it up.
Because you can buy this once a day, right?
I mean, yeah, you probably should be
like
able
if you're looking at the stars, the entire star price that you have here is effectively $20 once a day that you could purchase, which I think is a bit excessive if you were to purchase it every day. But, maybe if you purchased it, once or twice during this experiment, if you, were really, needing that bonus XP at this point in time, I think the dollar value of where they landed on that is fine.
It's good. I mean, it's actually, yeah. I mean, it's. Think of it this way: are you going to be spending that like every day? No. But there's going to be periods where you're going through a grind, and you might have a little extra cash one week, and like, would I drop $20 a day in a week to get through something that? Hell yeah. Or if I had a goal, like we were trying to get them capes, like, yeah, then it might not be enough. but then again, I don't even believe in the restrictions anyway. But the mere fact that it's here, I think is going to do more good than any of the actual specific dollar and cents and how well the bundles actually do. You know what I mean? Like, I almost feel like the value in this week is in just doing the experiment.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the other thing they touched on in the post is that it's not necessarily about the replacement bundle and how many of those they sell. That's just a bit of a side data point there for that. And as we said before, especially when it comes to the knowledge bombs, you could buy, 18 knowledge bombs a day. Each of those runs for an hour. That's 18 hours of the 50% XP boost, which, you're going to be using well beyond the time of this experiment.
Oh, yeah.
And, I'm not a knowledge bomb consumer, but if I was, I mean, to have them directly here at this price, it's something to consider.
Well, hell yeah.
So, Pern, what do you think of the prices that you have been presented Australian-wise?
Yeah, in Australia, just to let everyone know, 4 stars is $2.99, the 12-star pack $9.99, and a 25-star pack at $17.99, which, it seems pretty reasonable to me. Knowledge bomb wise, $10 for 2 bombs, $17.99 for 6 bombs, and $26.99 for 10 bombs. That seemed, I would have thought they would have been more on par with the stars, but I mean, I have no issue, and I think it's a great way to do things. And, for time poor players, rather than having to gamble and say, okay, this promotion's on, so I'm just going to, drop a bunch of money on keys and I hope I get some large lamps or large stars or whatever. This is a much better way because I know I want 25 large stars. I'm going to drop $18. Bang. I know exactly what I'm spending, exactly what I'm getting. There's no gambling aspect. There's no luck factor involved. It's get what you pay for.
The thing I was worried about. Yeah, go for it.
No, I think this is the best way to do it. I mean, I'm like Tanis. I don't think people have their money; they can spend it on what they want. Unfortunately, there are people out there. The few out there do ruin it for the many. So having a limitation on it is probably a good thing for those few. But yeah, I mean, especially someone who's got a few extra bucks but not a lot of time, and they just want to do this. I mean, you're finding it yourself at the moment with agility. There's some of those skills out there. That's what I said last night
in chat. Yep. Was that in terms of the whole group Ironman thing, this has been the first time I wanted a bonus XP for a skill.
Exactly, and for people, if there's a skill you don't like, great. You want to drop a few bucks on it? I have no issue. It doesn't ruin my game. So yeah, I think it's a good thing what they're doing.
Yeah, and I wanted to also say that I was a bit worried about the prices coming in before we saw them, because I was thinking, okay, those are the UK prices, and then we can see the scale up to the American dollar on that. But the thing is that when other companies in the past, I'm thinking of Psyonix with Rocket League, when those companies have moved to direct purchase for cosmetics and what have you for their game, the prices of all those things that became direct purchase that used to be behind keys just went up. And granted, these aren't cosmetics here, and we're not dealing with the ultra rare stuff that sits behind Treasure Hunter in this case, but I was worried that we would see a markup on this than we would typically expect for this. And I think if you put $12 into Treasure Hunter instead, I think that you would not get 25 large stars. You would have a chance at getting bigger than that, but
hell no.
Well, you would not be guaranteed.
And what I love about this, it is just bonus XP. It's not direct. I mean, I hate lamps. I used to love getting the bonus XP because it means I'm still playing the content, but I'm getting through those skills I don't like a bit faster.
Yeah.
Lamps is, I mean, you could drop the money and just completely ignore a skill and just buy 13 million XP worth of lamps, and so yeah, I do enjoy bonus XP, but I hate direct XP.
Yeah, and whenever I did that for the around the Christmas events for the wrapping paper and whatnot, and the Santa hat stuff, I would always just convert my lamps into oddments before they massacred that option. So.
Yeah. Oh, that was it used to be great when you hit 3 lamps and get triple oddments, and but yeah, they stuffed all that up. But I was the same. I would keep my stars and convert my lamps.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the survey then. Everybody, of course, who is listening to this and has played the game this week should go do this survey. You can find a link to the survey in the show notes at update.show, or just go to the RuneScape website or launcher, and it appears there. So based on and these are the questions that I selected. Both of you feel free to add your other ones as we go. But based on what you've experienced during this experiment, how do you feel about the removal of Treasure Hunter overall? And I said very positive, because I think that the removal of Treasure Hunter is one of those necessary first steps for people who might have lost trust in the game over the years, not necessarily for the reasons that they think, but just what has effectively been a sequence of community missteps over the years by Jagex on various things to start earning that trust back. I think that's an important first step, but also the bigger thing I think that needs to be addressed after all this is said and done is address the availability of XP in game. I think XP is too common. And emphasis on I think, because I don't have the empirical numbers to back that up. There's a future where we do a monthly bid on that, but not presently. So it's just a think. What did the both of you say for that question?
I was neutral.
Yeah, I mean, the same as you, Shane. I feel it's positive, but as messaging, as a sign of goodwill, not as, oh my god, we got to get rid of Treasure Hunter, and I don't even feel the same way about the XP, because this is still the grindiest game of them all. So,
Outside of old school
yeah,
and classic.
outside of old school. Yeah, it is. So, out of all of the other RuneScape properties, yeah.
Has the removal of Treasure Hunter impacted your experience of daily challenges? I said no change, and I think the thing for me on this is that whenever I would do daily challenges, I'd be doing it for the XP or whatever was on that daily challenge track, not the keys.
Yep. Yeah, I never did
maybe
it for
that's
keys
just
either.
me. Okay. What about you, Pern?
Yeah, I mean, I said no change. I mean, it doesn't affect me at all. Sorry, someone just come to my front door.
Oh, okay, that's fair enough. I can move on.
No. But yeah,
I was gonna say I can move on to the next big question, and it's exactly what Tanis and I said. It's more about those skills than the key involved, and I think I again have an unpopular opinion that the XP that comes from daily challenges is too generous.
yes.
And again, I don't know, listeners. You have to tell us what you think about that, because I don't know if I'm on the right side of that, or if that's a bit of a weird opinion at this point in time. But the next question was, if Treasure Hunter was removed, you would no longer receive keys from some daily challenges. If no other changes were made to the rewards available, how would you make this feel about daily challenges? And again, no change on that. And is there a world where if Treasure Hunter is removed, they have to add more to the daily challenges to make them lucrative for people?
I mean,
I don't feel. I never felt that way, although I do understand there was that linkage with the experiment that shall not be named. But I never understood it much even then. I mean, like I said, I get it, but I never felt that way. I don't feel that way.
I mean, I never did daily challenges for the keys. The key was just a little nice bonus, and if I got something good, I got something good. If I didn't, I didn't. It was all about just getting that little bit extra XP, and it's the same as on our group Iron Man. I mean, I do my daily challenges except for the archaeology ones. I always ignore those ones because I think archaeology is so well balanced that bonus XP and extra XP in it hurts the skill. So, but it's a nice little kick. Like especially if I get an agility challenge, I'll extend it because I want that extra kick of XP. Hunter. I was always extending the hunter ones because again, it was just a nice little kick of extra XP in that sort of sub 92 range. I think daily challenges are really good right where they are.
Yeah, okay. And finally, was there anything missed from Treasure Hunter while it was removed that you think should be brought back in another way? They say items, something that you do when you log in every day. Those are things that you could mention there. And I said I like the rotating cosmetics on the Oddment store.
I was the same. Again, I said just some of those cosmetics that you needed hundreds of keys to unlock. I'd like to see those sort of put across into the Oddment store.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess then at some point, let's just game this out that they say Treasure Hunter's being removed for good, right? You're then going to have a certain time period to effectively liquidate all your oddments into things like lamps or whatever you might have. And I think if they do that, they should just remove the cap on the amount that you can buy per day and let people just liquidate their oddments however they want if it ever does get to that point. And I think the biggest thing that comes to this for me is just ensuring that there's a space for the rotating supply of cosmetics to always be there. And I guess we'll learn more about that in experiment number 3 with the direct purchase cosmetics.
Well, and we'll see more. We would see more ability to bring things back through, right? If they weren't just stuck in a treasure hunter limbo of like, well, now we have to think of a way to bring it in through the game content. Well, this way you wouldn't necessarily always have to be doing that.
Yeah,
Like,
and you know, I think that we also with this have to be aware of the fact that other games have these sort of cosmetic stores like this, and it's something that they could run, you know, time limited seasonally, or you know, just have it always up in that way. But I think this is more of an experiment 3 thing, and hopefully the data will reflect that as we get through and into September.
yeah.
Now,
Well, and they also a lot of stuff that we play all has time savers, experience boosters. This isn't a RuneScape thing. Like,
right, and again, that gets
has
back
been.
to that idea of the whole time poor player,
Yeah.
which I think needs to be reflected through this survey. And they asked, you know, why didn't you purchase any bonus XP or the knowledge bombs in this thing? And I said, well, you know, on my main I'm maxed and I already have too much bonus XP in the skills I want to train to 120, which is true. And I guess the other thing I should have added in on the survey was that I primarily play the GIM right now, which, you know, makes all this a non-issue.
Yeah.
Did either of you respond to that direct question there about why you didn't purchase?
Yeah. Because I didn't want, because I know it looks funny. It was like I've done all this stuff, but right now I'm not, and I'm like totally agnostic to it, and it's because I really am playing Iron Man. But I think it's because RuneScape's in a good place. There is enough RuneScape right now to go around and have it how you want it. So I'm playing Iron Man. I'm totally cool with Treasure Hunter being there, not being there. I really don't care, because I'm really happy playing Iron Man right now. And when I'm not playing Iron Man, I might be playing a whole different kind of RuneScape. I'm way over there in Dragon Wilds.
Oh, did you see the
right?
creator mode is coming?
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll talk about that at a different time. I just wanted to throw that across your radar. Anyways.
Yeah. So I just think there's enough there. So yeah, that's what I attributed my anomalies to as well.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I mean, basically, I said, you know, my main account is 200 mil all. The only thing I'm interested on over there now is sort of the Slayer and Treasure Hunter drop logs and sort of going for trim. I said, so XP is means nothing over there, and I'm just having too much fun on the group Iron Man, and just love the fact that, you know, it is a pure account where I am grinding out everything and not sort of, you know, making the game go too quickly with
and that's the thing. You said experience doesn't matter, and you know, we're in a very interesting situation here where if we're talking about what the future of RuneScape 3 looks like, you have a world where, you know, we're saying, hey, XP doesn't matter anymore. You're 200 mil all.
Exactly. And I mean, unless they lift the cap.
No, here's the other thing. What if, on the whole issue of XP, and this is to the side of the survey here, let's say we're in a future where Treasure Hunter's removed. There's a few direct purchase stars and knowledge bombs and maybe some direct XP here and there. But with that, then there's also a bit of a rebalance that's done in terms of the daily challenge XP and where XP comes into the game and how the rates sit. I don't think you need to touch too many skills with the rates, because I think the rates only really get absurd when you factor in the bonus XP and the cinder cores and the smoldering lamps and all that. I don't think you need to touch too many skills. I just really think it's the egregious outliers like the daily challenges and a few other things in game. What if they launched a permanent Fresh Start Worlds that is a RuneScape 3 that has a fresh economy to it, that has no microtransactions on it. Fresh high scores, everything starting fresh.
Well, I think it'd be amazing.
Do you go back, assuming we get to a point where we're all maxed on the GIM, do you go back and play that?
Yes.
Yeah. This is
100%.
That's the future of RuneScape. We've all wondered about, like, what's the end game? What's
right,
this?
because,
what's that?
Like, I've come around. I don't think prestige mode is the thing to do anymore. I think what I just outlined is a lot more compelling. Pern, have I finally sold you that we don't need prestige? If that sort of thing was to happen instead.
I mean, prestige is something that I still love. But, in all honesty, it makes no sense anymore.
Right.
Because we do have things like Group Iron Man and all that. And yeah, I love my Pern account. That's my first account. It's, I've got it there. I will continue keeping it with membership. And, when a new skill comes out, I'll be getting on there and grinding away. But, I mean, personally, I'd love to see the 200 mil cap just gone, but I doubt that'll ever happen. So, yeah, something like a Fresh Start World, if I could take the Pern character across to there, not lose the name on my main account, but be able to use it over there and that character and just play through a whole new fresh start, I would absolutely love it.
Yeah.
See, and I think they're doing the whole reason that this is even unacceptable, because what you're saying, Pern, I think it is important, and I think it's because for a long time RuneScape, we viewed it as almost our virtual kind of avatar in a virtual world, right? Like that was, we're here, we're in our clans, all of that stuff. But Jagex did a good job by separating that. And now I feel more tied to my account. So when they did the whole Jagex account, and now I have this central place with my main, my Iron Man, like all of this stuff, I feel like we can do what Shane's talking about and still feel satisfied, as we may not have before, because we looked at it as our living embodiment, of our online RuneScape persona.
And to be fair, like, we can talk about community bifurcation and whatnot about that, but I think what you do is you look over time and you realize that the game is going to have this capability to have multiple incarnations of your character run when leagues come, because they know they said that they're going to do that. So for people who haven't played leagues before, you get to the world picker, right? And then when you click on a league's world, what it effectively does is it creates a new instance of your character, and you can play on that character with the same membership and all that. And then if you're on leagues, you just press hop world, and then if you hop to a non-leagues world, you're back on your main. That's how league's going to work. And I foresee a future where they can use that same tech if they wanted to do this sort of fresh start without treasure hunter. That's how you would do it, right? You would effectively have the treasure hunter free fresh start worlds side by side with the main RS3 ones, and then over time you can look, and you see where I'm going with this, right? You can gradually phase out treasure hunter over time, and that old original RuneScape shard, if that's something people want to do, you can look at the numbers and add more worlds to the fresh start side if you need, and gradually reduce the main RS3 ones, or maybe if there's a reason people want to go back to those old ones with limitations, they could do that. And I think that that's another option if treasure hunter just isn't purely if the removal of treasure hunter isn't pure enough is what I'm going for some people. But
I think that would be a great compromise, and it only continues, I think, what I've been talking about, of like there are a lot of ways to play RuneScape, and that just adds more instead of taking away, right? So And I bet you they're going to see a lot more. They're going to see more indifference in the survey than they ever imagined.
No, I think they know that they're going to see
You
indifference.
think so?
I think they know that. I think the players don't think that. I think the players think everybody's going to be polarized that Treasure Hunter's bad.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the players are going to be the surprised ones, because there was also the question about the purchase cap, and I said the purchase cap is just right, and I know that the question about the purchase cap rubbed a lot of people in the wrong way, and that's why I laid out my idea of, kind of the fresh RuneScape experience if Treasure Hunter is removed, to have a world and economy that wasn't ever touched by that, and high scores that weren't touched by that, because it, like you said, Tanis, this survey was written in a way that a lot of their other previous surveys in the past weren't, if that makes sense, because when you look at it, when you really look at these questions, the questions are pointed and they know exactly what they're getting to the point that you've said it almost feels like they had professional help writing the survey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we're going to rub things the wrong way here, let me stick my thumb in it all the way here. I don't think I answered that question different. No purchase cap. Because I don't care. I don't. It doesn't matter. Cares what my number is, but I just, I mean, so I the reason I think it was so different, one, like, the questions were very specific, and the one that really stood out to me was they're asking all these questions, have you participated in it in the past? Have you participated in it now? But the one that stood out was, what are your goals right now? What are you working on? That tells you everything. They've never asked that before. Like, and that to me was like, oh, you get it. You get it. Treasure Hunter isn't something that's like all the time, this or that. Okay, now you got it. Now,
it's also very important to delineate the people who just play casually versus the people who want to go hardcore all in.
Yep.
And get that picture from the survey too.
Yeah. And with the exception of Pern here, I don't know any other 200 mil all that didn't have their gathering skills with stars.
Well, Pern, you use stars, right?
Oh, yeah.
From your dailies.
I don't use lamps, but
half them, like a lot of them, like half those.
Yeah, but I mean, even so, even with just my 3 daily keys, I was getting a shit ton of bonus XP.
Also, you guys never had this available to you, but when Thaxi a number of years ago did the questing ult, he got 99 agility just from the treasure hunter keys that came from getting Questgate. And then some.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean,
when you consider how many quests are in game, and you get 2 keys for each of them, that's another issue.
Yeah, and I mean, and then when you're doing your dailies on top of that, there's another 3 keys. So, on my account, because I'd always do my dailies, because that was part of my, what challenge? That's the skill I'm working on. Yep, let's go do that challenge. Get that bonus, 45k XP, whatever it was. There's another 6. There's another 3 keys. So on top of the Premier Club, that's 6 keys a day, pretty much. So yeah, I did, and Dungeoneering and agility would not have hit 200 mil without all the bonus stuff that I had. I mean, I'll be honest there.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the a number of Christmases ago, I can pretty much say that all my stars that came from the wrapping paper promotions and all that went to Dungeoneering. So,
well, that's where all mine went on to. Yeah.
Can you guys believe that I didn't have like 120 Dungeoneering and 120 Slayer until like early 2022?
Yeah, I could believe that because it's your 2 most hated skills. So.
I'll
But
never forget. I got 120 dunge and the pet in the last run, and I'm like, yep,
oh,
we're
thank
done.
God you're done.
I thought I'd never have to do this ever again.
I remember just thinking it's a weird that Shane had 120 Dungeoneering and doesn't have a Slayer helm. 120 Slayer and doesn't have a Slayer helm. How the hell do you do 120
Slayer
and not have a Slayer helm?
What my push to 120 Slayer was on that last double XP week in February 22 was Slayer dummies with the bonus XP and Cinder cores.
Slayer helm.
Whatnot.
Yeah, you ain't gonna find a helm on the dummy.
No, but I was oddly, I think the probably the second person in the group to actually have a Slayer helmet on the group Iron Man.
Yeah, I've got my corrupted gem. I just need the 1,000 points now, and I'll have the fully upgraded corrupted Slayer helm. And then I'll be able to slap it on the little dummy in Anachronia, and get the bonus full time, and be able to wear a normal headpiece.
Yeah. The last question I wanted to touch in on was how much do you agree or disagree with the statements about potential changes from this experiment? They make it too difficult to achieve the levels I need for other content. I put strongly disagree on that one because based on how I feel about XP.
Yeah, me too.
These, once again, I thought were extremely telling. The way that they're worded and what they're asking. Now, it does, once again, I'm not bothered by the XP, but this really gets to the heart of what's your issue with it, and should you have an issue with it almost.
Yeah, because
right?
because aside from having on here the you like the direction RuneScape is going and you trust Jagex, you trust the devs, that's for everybody to say themselves. The other questions are, it makes the game feel more balanced, which I think, again, removing XP is a good thing. I know that's a controversial take. They make the game feel too grindy, which is the opposite side of that one. So that's a bit of a sanity test there between those two questions. And it makes the game feel more fair. And, I don't like the word fair. Because
I knew you wouldn't like the word fair or feel. I was like, ooh, look at the feels in this survey question. Ooh.
Fair is very subjective. And complaints about fairness is something that toddlers first do. So to talk about what is fair to me and fair to somebody else, I don't think is a good question. But to put it on the survey in this same way, to talk about the question of fairness and game integrity, I think it makes sense to put it on there from that perspective.
Well, I think it was in relation to... This is a vibes question to me.
Exactly.
This is like how... Yeah,
how are we doing with this?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I mean, hey... Maybe that's the best question of this survey, because when it started out, they said it wasn't necessarily to see if it brings people back. It wasn't to see how the bundles do. They know people won't come back for a long while. They know they'll lose money over this if they do this. What it is all about in the end is figuring out how RuneScape feels with this treasure hunter turned off.
Yep.
And that's the story at the end of the day, really.
Mm-hmm. And at the beginning of the week, I was thinking, what's to be gained, by this? And more importantly, like, what will we ever find out anything? And I'm like, wait a minute.
Well, they committed to being transparent on this.
Well, which is fine, but at the end of the day, when you start thinking about it, we mentioned this earlier, like, you're not going to see this in the data of how many did they sell. It's not. I think the win was in the doing it. The win was in the messaging. I saw like an article saying will RuneScape change the gaming industry with this shit? Like where did this come from? So it's
Oh, is that in like gaming media?
yeah, and which shocked me. So I think the win is in doing the experiment.
Yeah, because remember, they were the first ones really to pioneer the free-to-play model.
Mm-hmm.
Way back in 2002 and before.
Well, and remember, I've been an advocate for a hyper free-to-play. Just stick it, just give it to them.
Oh yeah, I mean level 5 to all skills is really not enough to get a sampling of it in this day and age. They really should be going to level 30 or level 50.
At least.
Yeah.
And monetize the shit out of it.
Yeah.
How about members? You can have treasure hunter or not. If you're free to play, you get treasure hunter.
Here's another one for you. You remember when they made fletching a free-to-play skill?
Yeah.
Make Slayer a free-to-play skill.
Oh, they should. Slayer's. I know you don't like it, Shane, but it's one of the most popular skills.
I know, and you would need to, have a separate, dedicated, free-to-play Slayer master that would only assign free-to-play creatures. But what better way of teasing people into members than giving them access to Slayer and some of the equipment that comes from that skill?
Yeah. Oh, that would be a winner. Somebody get Game Jam in that. That's the winner right there.
I mean, it's a skill that came out 20 years ago. You need a couple, 2 or 3 free-to-play Slayer masters and you're done. Really. That's all there is to it.
The one issue with that is going to be the influx, because Slayer is the main moneymaker for a lot of skilling type who don't go bossing all the time.
Well, no. They don't necessarily need to have the same creatures on that free-to-play table. Just enough to give them the idea of what Slayer is like. They don't need the Aberrant Specters, the Abyssal Demons, the Dark Beasts, and all that. I'm thinking of a Slayer free-to-play experience that goes to level 99, that you have Slayer Masters for under 30 combat, under 50 combat, and around 80 combat, and then that's what they get to take the skill to 99 as free-to-play.
Yeah. I think the thing about Slayer and the reason that actually could be really successful is it gives you a way and a reason to interact with combat that is not bossing, and that is not just you don't really do combat, you don't really grind it the same way that you do other skills.
Well, you do necro a bit, with the Salvamid and whatnot.
I guess with necro is an exception to that. Yes, that is more how you. But I feel like Slayer always gave me a way to do combat and make it enjoyable and not have to, not have to do bossing where I'm gonna die 5 times in an hour type of thing.
Ripper demons.
Well, yeah. Sold. Bye-bye.
But you see the entire thing that got onto this was, what are the alternative monetization models for the game, right? And it comes down to that idea of hyper free-to-play, like you said, Tannis. That's an interesting way of putting it. And I think Slayer is a good test case for something as an alternate there. And, if I would be interested in seeing that article after the show, see if you can find it and send it to me, because I'd like to look at that. Because if the game is being talked about for these reasons, like you said, maybe the experiment's already a success. But that's just one experiment. We also, of course, have the have the cosmetic free worlds as an option as well. And there was the whole Reddit thread for Experiment 1 that Mod Hooley has been posting on for people who want to give their feedback that way. Outside of the survey, you can find that linked in the show notes over at update.show. But in the meantime, I want to give a big, huge thank you to our Patreon members this week: Alvaro L., Amos Reed, Arvids L., Bladecom, Chilbura, Dominic R., Duramax, Gila Fuller, Imperialis, Jade Gizmo, Jason S., Jesse W., Julia W., Keski, Lemon Lodge, Luminos, Michelle M., Mongraph, Necromatus, Pernasius, Ricky A., Robbie D., Runestar, RRManNZ, Samuel FL, Scott DS, Shirt Pants, Sly Oasis, Smavin, Snail Mage, The Naked Captain, The Dabbing Goat, Tim, Ukulele Steve, Woody, Zant, and Zazakon. Big, huge thank you, everybody. If you want to learn more about this, patreon.com/RSBANDB. Right now, Patreon members are voting for the August monthly bit. That is our bonus episode that we do each and every month. It can be about any topic. This month on the docket, we have the options of does RuneScape have an ever-changing combat meta? Where in that one we'll talk about what combat looks like and whether or not it's always about the best and the brightest in terms of the gear that comes out, or if old content specifically on the combat side can still be very viable. RuneScape highs and lows. With that, we'll put together a list of the best and, of course, the low moments over all of RuneScape's history. And finally, what comes next after the MTX experiments. And the reason we're having this discussion this week, the bit of a protracted discussion on Experiment 1, is because this is the jumping off point for that monthly bit if that one wins. So if you want to hear the discussion that we've just been having here on the podcast on this episode, and if you want to see that taken to its conclusion, that's the monthly bit topic to vote for. All those at patreon.com/RSBNB. We have membership plans starting for as little as $1 a month, and for that price, you get access to all of the other past monthly bits, like the ones that I just talked about, similar to those, like tier lists as an example, deep dive into Legacy Combat, that's another one, Lore Diggers specials, so many other things available there in 85 now bonus RSBNB update episodes. Patreon.com/RSBNB. We also, of course, have the VIP tier where you get a VIP rank on Discord, chat channel access, and a mention on the podcast at the start of the month, plus high-quality stereo versions of the podcast. And then for the Insider tier, for $5 a month, you'll get a shout-out on the podcast each and every week and gain exclusive access to the outtakes that we use to make the clip show at the end of the year, plus the RSBNB update Christmas card every year. All these options available and more. Patreon.com/RSBNB. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks, guys. And don't forget, the bridesmaid of the highs and lows. Shane was pushing the other one, but the highs and lows, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. The bridesmaid always puts out more.
I do not get that reference whatsoever. But okay. All right. Go vote. All right. Experiment number 2. Starting next week. Cosmetic free worlds.
Unfortunately, they won't be getting rid of those giant dragons that everyone takes down to World 79 and sits over the divination area, flapping around. But
yeah, because that's an actual legendary pet.
It is, yeah.
The only thing that is being removed are the wardrobe overrides, walk overrides, rest overrides, tool overrides, overhead skilling icons, teleport animations, hit splants, overhead emotes, pets including legendary. Sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
I missed that one.
Yeah.
I thought so that will be removed.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll be doing...
Okay. I was wondering about that, but I was just reading the list, and there it is. And ability overrides as well. Combat spells like High Alch, death animations, and whatnot. For me, the most egregious one has always been the hit splats and the ability overrides.
Ooh, I didn't click on that list, that's why.
Yeah. And for people who are concerned, the first thing on the FAQ is no, they are not intending to stop offering purchasable cosmetics. They do want to take an opportunity, though, to test feedback about the current visual style of the cosmetics and get a read from all players on how the game feels without them. So this is not meaning that, cosmetics will go the way of the dodo or you won't be able to have that. It's just that this is a bit of a way to see how the game, runs and functions and how people generally feel about this idea and how many people are using these worlds. And this is going to run for a long time. This one isn't a week like the Treasure Hunter one. This one runs from July 28th to September 30th.
Which makes sense because you want a good feel. You don't just want a week where everyone's going to go, oh, we'll jump on and have a look at it. And then say, oh, look how many people are on there. You want a good couple of months of this one to make sure that, it's, the people who jump on the first week, they're still going to be there in the last week.
Yeah.
Do people care enough about this one to really...
I don't.
To log on a specific world and be like, yeah...
Avernick doesn't wear cosmetics anymore.
But there's a difference between not wearing them and then when you're logging in, going to a specific world and be like, yeah, screw cosmetics.
Well, there's only going to be 4. 97, 252, 249, and 139. 2 of those are members US, 1 is free-to-play US, and 1 is EU members.
Yeah, well, I mean, it'll be interesting, but I just... I didn't know this was a complaint, really. I mean...
The only complaints I ever see are your legend, that those huge legendary pets in certain areas, but a legendary pet's not an override. It's not a cosmetic. It's a useful beast that we have. So it's going to be interesting. What are we gonna see? Are we just you're the only one who can see it? No one else can. How are they going to do that?
I don't know, but
because
remember those like community times when. Just masses of people would, and everyone would have a pet. Or
it'd be insane.
Yeah, at least that would work better now, right? On those worlds where that stuff happens, you'd be going to this world. Yeah.
Because, even though I use the dowser and all that now, I still have the my legendary pet as the beast of burden for divination because you want that little bit extra that it gives. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that, whether you will see it, no one else will, or if you just can't summon it. But I can't see that you can't summon it because it is a tool. It's not a cosmetic.
Yeah. What it comes down to is they want feedback on how the game feels without the cosmetics that exist today. Which cosmetics are missed or valued to be visible, and thoughts on the visual identity and style of the game with only the more grounded look of the items that exist through gameplay. The data will be how many players use cosmetic-free worlds and return to cosmetic-free worlds and their playtime within them.
Yeah.
And I had a bit of a running thought on this one. Could this at all be related to the Avatar rework? Because if you consider what the game looks like and what the armors of today look like without cosmetic overrides, are people happy with that? And if the answer is no, it gives them a license to really figure out, which of the cosmetic overrides that people run do people see as the defining style for RS? And then you can use that and you can piggyback into what you prioritize for the Avatar rework.
Yeah. That's probably I feel like this is very thought out. Like with what data they're actually going for.
Because the other thing is that, this is just an appeal with the lack of monetization to old school players, because there are old school players who don't like their cosmetics. So that's one thing I think with that. they also addressed the question, would you ever take my purchased cosmetics away? And I am very thankful for this one because they are very core to my outfit setup on the main, at least right now. And their answer to this is definitely not. We respect anyone who has purchased cosmetics in our game, and any final approach would take this into account. They ultimately want to do what is best for the game, but they will also ensure that the character can look how you want with what you own today in any final implementation. And for me, I think the biggest issue out of all this is the keepsake keys.
But those are just for items that are in game.
Right, but if you look at the list, wardrobe overrides, anything that's in a keepsake counts as that.
So I'll have to actually wear my quest cape rather than just have the override
See,
option.
that should be an exception. I feel like that should be an exception since they're actual game items.
Yeah, but again, it's only on those cosmetic free worlds. It's not going to affect the rest of us. The only cosmetic override I ever use is my was my master quest cape on the main account and my quest cape on this one, and everything else is hidden. So again, I have no feelings one way or the other on this. People are happy to do what they want. If you want to go to those worlds, if it brings more players in from the official private server game back to the real game, then I'm happy.
Yeah, and what do you guys think? Is this going to be like the world limit is what is it these days? 1,000. So how many people are going to be on this?
It'll be like the legacy combat worlds. By the end of it, there'll be like 15 or 20 people per world.
Yeah, that's generous.
The first week, I reckon it'll be big. Once everyone's checked it out and had a run around and go, ooh, look at that, and they just go back to their regular play.
Ooh, look that brown. Ooh, that's a different brown. Ooh, that brown's cool. Look that brown out.
So yeah. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I think this is more just to prove to people that, hey, you might whinge about the cosmetics, but everyone loves them.
Yeah, and
I don't
one
care
thing
what
I'm
any
not
other player's wearing.
I'm not entirely sure how this factors into monetization and microtransactions, because I feel like this has never really been a big deal for people.
Yeah, no, it feels like since we're experimenting, I think you're right on track, Shane, with the avatar rework. That's what makes sense to me. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Cause
so when you said that, I
maybe. Okay.
Yeah. I was in the same boat. I had no idea why you would worry about it. The only thing I thought is those legendary pet overrides, and I thought, but the legendary pet's an actual tool. It's not a cosmetic, so that's why I didn't think they were included. I didn't realize I could click on that list and see the whole list until I read it properly.
They also say that cosmetic free worlds are not likely going to be a thing in the future, because they say this is the best way for them to test against this feedback without disrupting development, that they don't think that this would be the ideal approach regardless of outcome.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you consider it that way, maybe the best option then is just a toggle. But
hey, I whatever. Toggle, tickle, whatever.
And see, I don't think that this has the big guns behind it. Like, I don't think that this is live or die for the game. So it's not gonna move as much as Treasure Hunter.
No.
Which again is why it's just a two-month experiment. Hey, we can just convert 4 worlds like we did with Legacy Worlds. We'll convert 4 worlds where you can't have overrides. Bang, there you go. The 5 or 6 people who whinge about overrides can go and play there and leave the rest of us in peace.
All right, so that's it for that. We do have a couple patch notes this week. Not too many in the grand scheme of things. With the removal of the boots from Raksha for players who were missing those and now have a complete log of that, the collection log now reflects the new drop table, and players who previously received all the unique drops will now complete the achievement upon login. And manuscripts of Jazz are now looted at 2 per pile rather than just 1. Which
that's good.
That is good because, since Necromancy, that is one of the most popular Elder God Wars books that they have. So. And they also fixed a number of things following the game health update of things like sapphires and emeralds at the Archglacier not being noted, and the super magic potions that Carapac dropped in normal and hard mode were not noted as well. But
yep.
That's it for patch notes, because next week, of course, is Quest Week.
See, I thought you would have loved that farming one that they had.
What did they have for farming?
The plant cure spell. They resolved the issue that was causing it to accidentally transform some herbs into other herbs.
Well, I have no idea what that was, so I can't jump up and down about that.
It was a hot fix, so it's probably happened to one or two people. Go, oh, yeah, okay, we'll fix that one right away.
Yeah, that was probably fixed midweek last week. But
yeah,
I mean, if it converted it to Torstals, we'd be happy about that.
Exactly. But imagine you've just gone and grown all you're an Iron Man. You've gone and grown all your Torstals. You've done the single seed. You've put the ultras on, and then you get a bunch of Guams.
Yeah.
And I mean, at least you can see it now because the color of the herb is different.
And when you hover over them, it actually tells you the herb now, which is good.
So, all right. And with that, what have we been doing in RS? I'll go first because I think I had the biggest week this week. In the entirety of our week since we were last here. Last week, before we or was that before or after the show? But I'll say it again. I got 120. No, not 120 dungeoneering on the GIM. 75 dungeoneering on the GIM for Prif.
There we go.
So I think I mentioned that last week on the show. But
no, I think that was after the show last week.
Okay, one or the other on that.
Anyway,
I have also since then knocked out summoning, woodcutting, and agility to 75, with only construction being left right now. And then it's just a matter of doing the Prif quests on there.
Nice.
I also hit 90 necromancy as well.
Oh, snap.
Through doing rituals and whatnot, so just need to sit down and go knock out the killy tasks for that at some point. Then we can really get going on the PVM. But all the things that get into that mid to high tier gameplay are coming into line with that. And before we began the show, we were just sorting out my collection of teak planks and mahogany planks that I'll convert into frames for working at the fort to reach 75, which really should not take long given how powerful that thing is for construction training.
Brilliant. Yeah.
But aside from that, 111 farming, I think, also crept in there too. That's still going on. I keep sidetracking and I haven't found time to go and actually gather more mushrooms to feed the mushroom people, so those have been just kind of sitting off to the side without food. But right now it's chinchompas, dinosaurs, and black dragons that are largely involved in the push to 120 farming. That's going steadily at this point. So I know I was wondering when we'd get into this mode of having the game where it just rolls, and I think we're here at this point in time now for that. I did penguins this week too. It is amazing that the bulk of the penguins that you're able to get for points, you don't need to do any of the penguin quests to unlock them. You can just go in there and you get these huge gobs of XP coming out again, the question of XP that might have went to some of the agility there that helped out, but
There you go. Yeah.
that's largely been my week. So if all goes to plan, by the time we're here next week, you should hear about my entry to Prif and maybe some naughty necro gear.
Nice.
Which of you want to go first or second?
Dennis can.
All right. Yeah, I've been actually been really busy on the GIM. Unlocked invention, hit the 80 crafting, the 80 div, and then did like 10 invention levels or something like that, and then started working on range, and then
we saw your level 2 and level 3 ranged.
Yeah. And then a few fletching levels, going along with the range. So, yeah.
Hey, you just hit 46, so.
Yeah, I'm working on
Let us know when you need
too.
Chinchampas. We'll get you sorted out on that.
Right on.
Because after you unlock Chinchampas, your best range training that we found, if you want to do AoE, is in the Abyss with Chinchampas and offhand rune knives at 50-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm getting close to that.
Yeah. It wasn't nearly as bad as we thought, because there's also the salamanders too that come into the equation.
I was wondering when I needed to switch to that, but then again, I also knew it was like
I
tar
think the salamanders are 70, 60, 50, 40. And I think we have a boatload of tar around the bank at some point, Pern. I think one of us has that. I think I might.
I was going to say I
think
dumped
I might
all
have the
mine
tar.
in there. Sorry.
Yeah. So whenever that we can sort all that out, get all the salamanders, and give you the tar for that too. So I'll pop that tar in the bank for you after we're done here.
Sweet.
You can
have
it, because I don't think I have a use for it anymore.
Awesome.
So
yeah, I'm working on Prif as well. Yeah, so it won't be too long.
Nice. Burn?
Yeah, this week, smacked out a few more Slayer tasks, got the Corrupted Gem, I think I mentioned earlier, so I can fully upgrade my Slayer helm now once I get the 1,000 points required for that. Hit 109 invention, which, that's when you...
It goes quick later on, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Well, when you got 4 items that are sort of ready to go, every time, it's just bang, like that's 1 million XP. No, actually, that's more than that, because it's like 600 odd K XP per item. So it's just bang, bang, bang. So that come out. Got both the Holy Aggro Overload recipe unlocked in Archaeology, as well as the Summoning Renewal. So they were two potions that come out of Archaeology. So got those unlocked. Other than that, just been doing a bunch of clues. I think I mentioned last week I hit my first 1,000 points so I could get the shorts done. Unfortunately, I thought the shorts you just clicked on them and they automatically did it. You still need to pull everything out and wear it from the hidey holes. It's only the whole outfit that it stops that from. Yeah. So my next one, I need the 750 points, which I'm almost there. I'm just going to get the gloves so I can put all the teleport scrolls in there. The hardest part with it at this level is just having an inventory, because you've got to leave basically 9 spaces free for some of the spots where you have to take everything off and such. Ugh. So I've got basically almost 100 hard clues. The caskets are all banked. I'm waiting until we get our alchemical onyxes done, and then I'll sit there when Thax is on and just open them all and hand them across to him so he can break them all down to fortunates and put together our alchemical onyxes. I bet you're just looking
forward to filling that master hidey hole on the Ark that has has the infinity boots in it.
Done it. Got my Infinity. That was my other one. I got my Infinity boots and I got my Yaktui stick this week. They were my workouts.
How difficult
this
was
week.
the Infinity boots?
Not so bad. The only really annoying part is the telekinetic grab one where you've got the maze and you've got to keep running around and moving the guy. The others were all very, pretty quick to do to get the points up, because you've got to have 120 points in all of them, and I think it's 1,200 points in one of the other ones. But it was just the maze one. I think it's the telekinetic grab where you're running around the different mazes and moving the golem around. So that wasn't as bad as I thought. I knocked that out in probably 4 or 5 hours.
Okay.
So yeah, the Yaktui stick, that was a bit longer. 1,000 catches of those, but again, not overly bad. I've now just got to get lucky on some of these hard clues, because I think there's 3 or 4 items I need out of those to put in hidey holes. I've got the fire cape already, so pretty much everything's ready to go once I get those done.
Nice.
Then we'll all get our dwarven rings, and we'll all have a Grace of the Elves each.
Then we move on
like
to farming for EOFs and whatnot.
Yes, yeah.
But I'm not too fussed about that, especially with Necro right now. So
yeah, I think I'm only probably 50 or 60 points away on Reaper from getting an Alchemical Onyx myself.
I need to get going on Reaper points.
I might do that and just get us. I might actually just knock those out and get us a dwarven ring. And
one of the best things about doing Reaper tasks early on is you can only get assigned the bosses that you have already killed.
Yes. What you got the levels for?
Yeah.
They said that. I was looking at the thing, and one of the metas was do Reaper straight away, because it basically only gave you one of the easiest. Things like the
mole.
Yeah, the mole and the one up in the wilderness.
KBD. Or Chaos Elemental.
No. Chaos Elemental, yeah. So, yeah. But anyway.
All right.
But yeah, just still having a ton of fun. I mean, it's just really fun just going through it all again.
Sounds good. Okie dokie. Achievement-wise this week, we have Melanoric, who is back for these experiments, he told me. Welcome back, with 120 Necromancy on the 23rd. Crazy Legs, 722, with 120 Necromancy on the 20th. Fight Caves with 200 million ranged on the 17th, and Omega with 200 million Hunter on the 17th as well. Congratulations, everyone.
Well done, all.
All right, pick of the week time, as I could have mentioned last week, but I waited till you were here, Janice, for this one. Strange New World Season 3 started last week, and I figured we could do this as a dual pick, since this is a show we both watched here.
Absolutely, my favorite captain.
Yeah, he's definitely getting into that category for me as well. After
Strange
the season, no favorite.
I said Captain Strange.
Oh, no, Pike. But for people who haven't watched before, Strange New Worlds, the Star Trek series set during Pike's 5-year mission, the last of Pike's 5-year missions when he was captain of the Enterprise, which of course happens before the original series. And I think the thing that a lot of people really like about this show is that it's not hyper-serialized the way Discovery or Picard was. Meaning it's not one long, drawn-out story throughout the entire season. You have those elements of what people always went to before for Star Trek.
Yes. And I can still remember that first season having a couple kind of, I don't know how else to say it, whimsical episodes.
There was also the episode about child sacrifice in the first season.
Well, I was going whimsical, and you went with child sacrifice. But we'll see if we get that this season. But I love Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, last season we had the musical and the Lower Decks crossover.
Yes. Oh, man, that was too long ago.
Yeah, it was held up by the writer's strike.
Hey,
They are filming season 4 right now, with season 5 to also film this year for that. So, should be full steam ahead for the series. But if you have watched Star Trek before, this is one that you probably don't want to miss. And if you haven't watched it and you're looking to get into the new stuff, this is probably a good jumping off point, because it doesn't rely on any previous knowledge, and it doesn't do the hyper serialization, which the old ones didn't do. And that's what I would say for anybody looking to get into the new modern stuff. If you've seen the other stuff, this is a good point for that. It is on it is actually on TV in Canada as one of the options, which is a rarity these days. But it is also, of course, on Paramount Plus. And the reason I think that I was waiting for this one, and you probably too, Tannis, was that they ended season 2 with a cliffhanger in the way that they used to end the traditional Star Trek series episodes. So that was the chance to pick that up when they dropped that, and they dropped 2 episodes for the first one. So as of right now, there are 3 episodes in the backlog for people to watch on that. But that's on Paramount Plus in the US. I think it's Sky Showtime over in Europe. And if you're in Canada, you can also watch it on the TV as well. But that's the pick. Strange New Worlds Season 3. I don't know that I have much else to say about it.
No, I just think it's a nice return to form for Star Trek. If you weren't into Discovery, if you weren't into Picard, then this is probably for you. This is more the next gen DS9 kind of fans are going to relate to Strange New Worlds more.
Yeah. And, I always hope that there will be some kind of series out there like that does this, because they did announce that season 5 would be the end of it. So the question is, what happens after that with the series that are on the table. So it's something that always pops up whenever I'm looking at this. But Paramount Plus in the US, Canada on TV, Sky Showtime in Europe, Strange New World Season 3. That is the pick of the week, but I don't know that there's much else for us to say this week. We had a good discussion on Treasure Hunter and there'll be a temporary removal of it. I know my when they first announced this, the YouTube feed got filled with videos saying RuneScape removing Treasure Hunter. Yeah. Only for a bit. Only for a bit.
Clickbaits.
Yeah, we never did that when they first announced that. So that's what this podcast does. And, that's what we've made our thing for the last 20 years. And if you want Quest Week delivered automatically to you when that comes out next week, update.show/subscribe. The finale of the Desert quest line will of course have Zerdones and Avernick here, amongst others, to discuss this episode. If you want that on launch day for the podcast, not at the quest. We're not going to do the podcast on the same day as we do the quest. That'd be crazy. Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Spotify, and of course YouTube at youtube.com/RSBANB, or just go to update.show/subscribe and click on your favorite podcast listening service. And if you are on YouTube, of course, do like and subscribe. Helps the channel out. I know that's what everybody says, but when it comes to things like podcasts, especially long form on YouTube, we really mean that. Update.show/subscribe, youtube.com/RSBANB. Anything else for either of you?
I think we should get a vote going that Shane live streams the new quest next week.
Earth used to do that.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I could, but we'll see.
Actually, I'd like to see Earth do it, because I'd like to see him go crazy at the new boss.
Well, the boss isn't coming out till the following week.
But don't we fight the boss at the end of it?
We fight something. They have been very cagey of what it is, but I don't think it's exactly mechanically the same, no.
Yeah, I just thought it would have been a watered-down version of the boss.
Yeah, I don't exactly know how that's going to work. I imagine we'll figure that all out there. So,
yes, looking forward to it.
Yeah. Anything else from you, Tannis?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Well, always good having you on the show. The former whale. I don't know if we call you a former whale. You knew the former whales.
Yeah. I just, I'm more like the little fish that hangs on the fin of the shark. Like, hey guys, that's good.
The groper.
Have a bite.
And of course, Perdassia, is always good having you on as well. Everyone's second favorite Australian.
That is me. Thank you, guys.
And with that being said, we'll be back next week for another episode of RSBANDB Update. See you then, everyone. Take care.
Happy Skype and all.